Hello, everyone. Welcome to Business Spotlight USA. It's my favorite part of my day and my week when I get to talk with business owners to learn about their journeys and their stories. And today I'm really excited to have Tracy here with us from the Hair Forge. Hello, Tracy.
Hello, Monica. I'm so excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. So, Tracy, how about you start out by sharing a little bit about your journey to business ownership.
Absolutely. So I'm pretty familiar with business ownership. I have two other businesses besides the one that I'm going to talk to you about today, and that one is the Hair Forge. And it is a newly launched company, as a matter of fact. We came up with the idea at the end of June of 2023. There are two parts to the story. I have two sons, and the fall before, I had the good fortune of going to Greece with one of my sons for his graduation present from graduating from high school, and he chose to go to Athens. So we went there, and it was really windy, beautiful weather, amazing trip. But his hair was longer, and it kept on flying into his face. And so he's like, "Mom, what can I do about this?" So we went into one of those little souvenir shops and we got a really cute laurel headband and put it in his hair. And I was like, "Oh, sweetheart, you look like a Greek Adonis, you know?" And he was like, "Oh, thank you." And it looked really good. And I didn't think too much more of it until the end of June, when my other son, who also has long hair, he's like, "Mom, I need something to put my hair back, but I think the elastics that you wear are ugly." And I was like, "You know what? Those elastics are pretty ugly, and I bet you want something just a little bit more your style." So I thought about it for a second, and I was like, men's hair accessories.
Mm.
Huh, men's hair accessories. Is that a thing? And we had been driving home. So as soon as we got home, Max and I got on the computer and I started Googling, and Ryder came up. Those are my son's names. And we couldn't find anything that fit their purposes. There was one company in France that had hair accessories, but they were kind of sedate, repurposed women's hair accessories, in our opinions. I mean, they look like lovely quality pieces, but they weren't what we were looking for. And so we thought, well, we are going to start that business and we are going to build it together. So we hit the ground running and have not looked back since. So that's how the Hair Forge got started.
What a great personal story. And I'm guessing if the boys have any hair style like yours, they have some beautiful hair.
They have spectacular hair. One of them is blonde and it's got waves in it, and the other one has long, straight, silky hair. And then actually, my husband is also a part of this business because he is an experienced photographer and videographer. So he provides us with all of our gorgeous photos and videos. And then my nephew, his name is Jeremiah Mansavage. He has different hair. He's black and Filipino. And so he's got this really great curly hair. And so Max, Ryder, and Jeremiah are the faces of the Hair Forge. They're the brand ambassadors and representatives. And it's so special to us because my husband and I met in New York City. He was an actor, I was an actor and a model. And we moved back and forth between New York and Los Angeles. We lived in Paris for a little while, Orlando for a little while. And then we had our son when we were in Los Angeles. And we appreciated the city, but it wasn't where we wanted to raise children. So we moved back here to Wisconsin, which is where I grew up, so that we could be near my sister and my niece and nephew. And so our kids have all grown up together. And getting to create this, having all of us do this as a family business, it was a dream that I didn't know to have that seemed to come true, if that makes sense.
It is. The world is always working for us when we take the opportunities. We find amazing things. And so you mentioned family business and how neat to have you involved and your husband. What does a typical day look like for you and the team of the Hair Forge?
So I currently am still working as a mental health counselor and clinic owner. So my mornings are dedicated to the practice and to seeing clients. And then there are a few sundry hours in the afternoon that go to this as well. So typically I'll get up, I get up at around 4:45 and I meditate or work out. And then I get to work and I start seeing clients at 7. I usually end at around noon. I have napped all my life. I think it's one of the keys to my productivity, honestly. So I go home and I have lunch and I nap for about 20 minutes. I get up and then I start working on the hair forge. And typically I'll work on that for a few hours and then either I or somebody else will make dinner. And then I'll probably work on the hair forge again for another hour and a half or so. And then my husband and I, we love watching TV together. So we'll watch an episode or two and then head to bed. And then our weekends, because we are newly launched, our weekends have been dedicated to this. So pretty much a good 16 hours on the weekend is going towards the hair forge because we're investing the time and energy now so that hopefully we'll get into a nice groove and we'll not have to work so many hours on the weekends. And
Get
then
those
the
weekend
other
hours.
yeah, it's a lot. And then the other members, my one of my sons has a full-time job. He works for TDS in sales. And then my other son is going to school for small business entrepreneurship. And so they prioritize those aspects. And I am currently acting as the CEO. And so I delegate the tasks to them and to Jeremiah and to my husband. And my husband currently works for Odyssey. He's a creative services director. So he has a full-time position there while he works on this on the side. So he also has really full days. We keep busy.
I guess so. I guess so. And so when you talk about the keep busy and work, maybe investing the time now for kind of that future, what does that future vision look like? I know it's all coming to fruition right now, but if you were to say 3 to 5 years from now, what is the hair forge going to look like?
Oh, I love that question, Monica. I was very deliberate in talking to the boys about, I call them boys and they're young men, but they're my boys. Um, very deliberate about, I am very happy to helm this for as long as it takes until the three of you are up to speed regarding the knowledge and the skill set so that the company is yours. So in 3 to 5 years, I am confident that the boys will be in leadership roles and that my husband and I will more be in advisor positions, if you will. So my hope, we're going to be primarily e-commerce at the start. And we are also in the process of getting into, currently we have 3 retail spaces that are interested in carrying our products. So we're making that happen and hoping to get into more retail spaces. Um, uh, our hope is that the boys not will only will be in these leadership positions, but also we're going to be building a kind of aspirational lifestyle to the Hair Forge. So these dynamic young men will not only be talking about business and how they're building this business, but also, how to live a meaningful life because they're very much in the stage of life where they're forging their identities, where they're figuring out what's important to them. And so we will hope that we will build a community because our target right now, our target market is Gen Z men. And we're living in a disconnected world. And so building community, expanding what's possible for young men, those are parts of our mission. And so our Ryder, Max, and Jeremiah will be living, breathing embodiments of what a lot of experiences are that are possible to young men. That's our hope.
Very inspirational. With that hope and that vision, and your experiences of building businesses. Tell us how your is being built. What is really important in the Hair Forge in regards to the culture that you are building?
Hmm. Gotcha. Excellent question. Well, currently, I'm going to tie that to the book that I'm rereading right now, which is Dare to Lead. And with our boys in the nascency of business building, we have asked them to be very deliberate about thinking about what values they want to live by and what are going to be their orientation points. And so, as we did our About Us videos, we all discussed this. And so it's kind of a collective culture. My own personal guiding points are curiosity and love. So any decisions that I make, I weigh against what will get us more in the direction of these two values. All of the boys had adventure as part of their values. Authenticity was important to my son, Max. Um, Learning was also important to Jeremiah and to Ryder. So we are hoping to foster a culture where it is that, right, we're going to make mistakes and we are going to come up against challenges. These mistakes are there to be held with care and with the ability to learn from them. And then the learning aspect of it is huge. We've had some giant learning curves, so all of us are actively engaged in focusing on different areas. And so the culture of continuing to learn and being open to ideas and to growth, that's all a part of what we hope to always have guiding us.
That's great. And when you talk about those, I'm gonna to them as kind of points of culture that you're
Okay.
building, and I think it's a beautiful thing to talk about how you're growing into that, right? That's a whole learning experience for you. And when you talk about the company you're looking to build and how you want people to have experiences that show them all that's possible, tell me and those that are listening, like, what do you want your customers to feel like when they have your hair accessories? Like, what's the goal of how they feel?
Empowered, confident. I want them to feel like anything is possible. They can break boundaries and barriers and they can be authentically themselves.
It's great. It's great. Authenticity always wins, right? Love always wins. You mentioned love earlier as well. So beautiful, Tracy. That's great. Let's get into some power questions for you. So, if you were to give one piece of advice for how to achieve success, what would be your one piece of advice?
Prioritize good care of yourself. Business happens in life. And life happens in these wonderful bodies and minds that we've been given. So to take very good care of those things first is very important. And I guess there are two things, if it's okay to offer up that as well. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. Cultivate community. You know what I just talked about? I just said business happens in life. That was something that I learned from part of a community that I'm a part of. It's a group from Madison called the Doyen Group, and they cultivate, they support women who are starting businesses. And that was a quote from my mentor, Heather. Um, and she had said and it was like a light bulb moment for me for sure. Business
Mhm.
happens in a life. And with this life, how am I experiencing this life through this body? Got to take good care of my physical and mental health. And part of the way I do that is cultivating good community too.
That's great. And your power naps that that shows you are living it
Yes, yes, indeed.
for sure. What would be a top recommendation for you for a book to read or a podcast to listen to that you would recommend to our viewers?
For people who are interested in e-commerce, I cannot recommend Steve Chow's podcast enough. The name of his business is How My Wife Quit Her Job. I believe that's the name of it. Yeah, but it's absolutely spectacular, actionable, to the point. He's very down to earth. He also espouses very good integration of prioritizing family and your well-being first, and then doing the rest. And then book, it's got to be Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. I have referred to that book so many times throughout
Yeah.
the course of the various businesses that I've built. And her piece about emotional intelligence, her pieces about vulnerability, about values to live by, about having hard conversations, bar none, one of the best books I have ever read about business.
Yeah, great. I'm a huge Brene Brown fan. I thought it was just me, and it isn't. A little bit about shame, right? She's a great leader in
Yes,
that
she is.
vulnerability and shame world. Great. And if I was to put in the mail or hand you a magic wand for your business, the Hair Forge, what would you use the magic wand for?
Word of mouth. That's what I would use it for, getting the message spread about the Hair Forge, because everybody that we do get to speak about it with, they're like, oh my gosh, this is an idea whose time is long overdue and it's spectacular. And they love the products that we have curated and are designing. So if we could get the word out, that would be the one magical piece that would be incredible.
that that marketing is always for any business and word of mouth. And I think you sharing your story on here, we really appreciate that, Tracy, and we hope that the viewers really enjoy your story and we can start that spreading that word. So ask you, how do people find the Hair Forge? How do they get a hold of you? How do they find you? What's the next steps for them?
Our website is up and live as of last week. So that is the hairforge.store. And then you can find me, Tracy Douglas, on LinkedIn. And our social media accounts are at the Hair Forge. And in between the and hair, there's an underscore. So TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook are our main channels right now.
Excellent. Great. And as we wrap up, I always like to leave everyone with a little bit of inspiration. So, Tracy, how about before we part, you share what inspires you?
Excellent. Authors inspire me to no end. I love reading fiction, nonfiction. All the ways that life can be lived is so inspiring. I just finished reading The Covenant of Water, and oh, just the heart and soul of that is so inspiring. So, as you were saying, Monica, about stories and the importance of stories in our lives, right, that's where we find inspiration. That's where we find what's possible. So immersing yourself as much as possible in that, whether it's through written or audio or video, stories are where inspiration is to be found.
Thank you for sharing your story with us today. I know you just got some really great news and you've been working on a big project with the Hair Forge. Can you share with us what that is?
Yes, absolutely. So a couple of days, well, back in December, I was at a chocolate shop in Madison, Coco Va. The owner and proprietor, Siovata Adari, has gotten to be a friend of ours as she's become a friend to so many of her customers. And we were chatting, and she mentioned that she had to go out to Los Angeles because her friend Lash Ferry, the person who does the Grammy swag bags, was having her do another event with him. And so I took a mental note of that. I was like, okay, Lash Fairy. And I went home and looked him up on Instagram and started following him. So 2 days later, he put up a post saying, "Who wants to be a part of music's biggest night?" And right away, I responded to the post. I was like, "Can I please tell you about our business?" And he wrote back, he's like, "Sure, here's my email address." So I wrote him right away about the Hair Forge and let him know what we were up to. And 10 minutes later, he had written back and he said, "This is fantastic and adorable. And please submit this application. It will get approved." And it did. And so our company now is a part of the 66 Grammys Gift Lounge. Well, not the gift lounge, the gift bags. So we sent off 145 swag bags to the presenters and the performers of the Grammys, and they will get to have our product in their hands. And I actually do have a bag like right here, if I could get, because it's kind of neat to look at. Can I grab it real quick?
Let's see it. Let's see
Oh,
what they're
cool.
getting at the Grammys.
Yes,
Of
yes, it's really
course.
neat. We really,
Yes.
our packaging, we really wanted our customers to have an experience. So we have them in these lovely burlap bags. And then you open up the bags and we have a little card here that this little QR code has the tutorials for the accessories that we have in. And then we have a little message on the back. Our tagline is to forge your style. And we talk about what you're holding in your hands marks a groundbreaking moment in the world of men's fashion and lifestyle. And then it talks a little bit about our mission of expanding the idea of masculinity and being authentic to oneself. And then as they reach into the bag, I'll hold it up here so you can see, we have a hair staff, which goes into ponytails and buns. And then we have our other products in little bags. So it's like a little journey of discovery. Every product has its own little bag, and we gave our products names. And so this is the Isda. It's a fish hair clip. Isda is Tagalog for fish. I'm Filipino, so that has special meaning for me. And then
Very
this is the
special.
full hop, which is a beautiful leaf barrette that snaps into your hair. And then the last piece that we have is one of our favorites from our customers. This is called the Fen Rear, and it's a hair elastic that can get fastened into hair. And so you're seeing ahead of time what the presenters and performers at the Grammys this year will see. It's super
Well,
exciting. We're very geeked to see what gets to happen as a result of this.
you know what? They're gonna be excited to get that bag, and it's like the little boxes, you have the bigger box, little one, and you just keep opening it up with some great surprises. So well done, Tracy, and
Thank you.
congrats. And, I love speaking of stories, I love that story. You're so passionate about what you're doing at a chocolate shop, having a conversation, right? And then
Yes.
making that connection. So congratulations, and how exciting for all of you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that,
You're
Monica.
so welcome. It's been such a pleasure, Tracy, chatting with you today. And gosh, I'm so excited to see where the Hair Forge goes. I'll be watching.
Thank you so much for your support and for having me on. It was such a pleasure. I
Yes,
appreciate the
absolutely.
work you do.
Thank you, Tracy. Absolute pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.